Greetings, whoever this may concern. Christian Aguilar here, back with another series review. And in today's series review, I'm going to be reviewing Castlevania Season 2. Finally, the long-awaited Castlevania Season 2 for me. And probably some of you out there that have watched this from 2017. Castlevania Season 2 came out the year after, which is in 2018. And what made that wait feel so long is honestly the fact that there was uncertainty that, well, for me at least, I didn't hear anything else about it during the time, but I didn't know if this series was going to come back for another season. So I was really hoping, really praying, because the first season was really good, but I was just so disappointed that it just stopped all of a sudden, right? It's just like, all right, now they're, like Alucard, Trevor, and Sypha, all of them were teamed up, shoulder to shoulder, and they're like, all right, let's go stop Dracula. And it ended like you can't, no, don't do that. I was like, why are you doing that? When I didn't see next episode, I freaked out. I just freaked the hell out. But when 2018 came rolling around and there was a second season, I immediately jumped out of the bed or out of wherever the hell I figured out that there was a second season. I sat myself right in front of my TV and I just started watching the hell out of the second season. So without further ado, let me get right into the review. Season 2 revolves around the ever-growing war that was sparked up in the first season. Like I said in the Season 1 review, if you have not seen that, it'll be available at the end of the video, or it's on the top right-hand corner right here. So in the Season 1 review, I said that I love the reasoning as to why Dracula is causing havoc on humanity again, and it's the fact that they burned his wife at the stake. This is Season 2 review, so I'm assuming you're watching this already after seeing Season 1, so this is going to be full of Season 1 spoilers. Not much spoilers for Season 2. And it's so crazy because we know as viewers, because they took us in their perspective, that the science she was using was really advanced science for the time. So for it being really advanced science for the time, the townspeople thought it was witchcraft. Naturally, they just like, oh, we don't believe this. This is too good to be true. People are healing too fast, It's like miracles almost. So that's why they burned her. And her being burned at the stake, it was so cool to know that he couldn't do anything about it because he took her advice. She said to travel like man does. Don't go by air, don't go airborne, or don't teleport. Don't use any magic to travel. Travel by foot, like how the men do. And so he took that advice and he was like admiring every little thing. I think he picked some berries or something like that. He was just like enjoying himself, like in his solace a little bit. There was a little bit of like he wasn't too sure of himself that this is the right thing to do, but he's taking the advice of the woman he loves, so he's not going to question it, really. And that was the really interesting part of it all, was that she was human and he was a vampire, which their love created Alucard, which is his son, of course. Alucard backwards for Dracula. So clever. I remember my first introduction to Alucard was in the Batman versus Dracula animated series, where he wrote out Dracula. And I think because Dracula was disguising himself and his name was Alucard. So when he said, oh, my name's Alucard, Bruce Wayne wrote it out on the tray with lipstick and he held it up to the mirror, and backwards it said Dracula. So I thought that was really cool as a kid and really kind of creepy. I'm like, ooh, that's so cool and creepy. And so to see that Castlevania has a whole character named Alucard and that's his son, it's pretty awesome. So cool. And so when he causes havoc on the townspeople for burning his wife, it begins a war between dark and light. He is going to bring eternal death to all of the lands. He's done with humanity. He's just fed up with them because they killed the only woman he ever loved. So if she's gone, really, who else is there to care for, despite Alucard being there? But Dracula hates Alucard, as we get to learn in this season. Him and Alucard don't have talk about daddy issues. Alucard has big daddy issues. Like, he does not get along with his father at all. And it all culminates, I believe, in a battle between them. And honestly, talk about end fights. The first season with Trevor versus Alucard, when they first meet underground in that cathedral, the Cyclops fight was really cool too. The Cyclops fight was awesome. I think that's where he met Sypha too, if I'm not mistaken. She was stuck in there and he freed her. So Trevor and Alucard's fight at the end of season 1 was really cool. And if you thought that was cool, they really cranked it up to 11 because the Dracula versus Alucard fight at the end of season 2, chef's kiss, because my lord, that was an entertaining fight. And also season 2 introduces a whole bunch of new characters. Dracula ends up calling a war council, so we see all these different vampires come from across the lands to answer Dracula's call, so they all come, and I just love how they introduced all these different personalities. Like Carmella, she was like really like, talk about an angry dominatrix, like that's Carmella. Like she is a bad bitch. Like you do not want to cross Carmella whatsoever. And she turns out to be one of the most powerful vampires. Like she's pretty frightening in combat, and it's pretty cool to see. But that's later on in a later season. But in this season, it shows more of her politics and ideologies and how she is as like a ruler or like a politician, and how she would plan out a battle tactic. And she's really ruthless, man. And it's just a great character for a villain, and it would be so cool if she turned out to be a hero. That would be just a great character arc, something like Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones, but they kind of tarnished that in the last season. You Game of Thrones fans know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Carmella was one of the highlights of this season. I really loved her introduction, along with Isaac and Hector, which I think they were, I'm forgetting what they were, they're forge makers. There we go. There were forge makers for Dracula's army, so they made like the blue fangs and everything. So that blue that I liked in the teeth and in the eyes that I mentioned in the season 1 review, that came from their flames when they were resurrecting the dead carcasses into the creature monstrosity like blue fang servants of Dracula. Those are where all the monsters are coming from, or resurrected carcasses. And I thought, holy crap, that is so cool, so sinister. Like it's like playing in that dark arts realm and stuff like that. And I love how they're using that as an explanation for where these large amounts of monsters are coming from. It's from the dead. It's like reduce, reuse, and recycle. They know how to do that. They're very green. Vampires are very green in this in this series, because they really like to use the dead carcasses over and over again. If it's not for eating, it's for making an army. So I mean, yeah, they're really resourceful. But the characters of Isaac and Hector, I love how they're humans, but they're really like tormented souls that their humanity's lost, and they're basically considered like a dark being. Hence why they're like the right-hand men of Dracula, And so I love their complexity towards being mortals. They're mortal themselves. They're still humans, but yet they hate humanity, and they hate the harshness and the backstabbing that comes with it. So those characters are very intriguing. We'll see a lot more of them in later seasons. And of course, the ever-growing relationship with Trevor and Sypha is so adorable. Great chemistry between, like, the voice actors are really great in this series. Like, there's not one weak performance at all, I don't think. Like, remembering from all this, I can't think of a weak performance. So that just goes to show the quality of not only the performances, but the writing as well, and the direction. And it's just like everything is like in tune with this series, man. Like the gears are turning and there is no sign of rust anywhere. It's pretty amazing, and I really hope this series goes on for some time, because this is a really great series. Again, the fight scenes are really, really good. Like, this is a gore fest, man. They amp up the gore way more in this season. And I think that I think the seasons get a little gorier each as they go on. Not like intensely, but it's just like you see more of like the muscles and the ligaments inside. Like there's some shots that they just like dedicate that detail to, and it's appreciated if you're a gore fanatic. And it's pretty cool. It's nice and bloody, and it's fun, dude. It's so fun. This series is so fun, and season 2 just amps up that hype train and that fun train, because it's just like we're in battle and this is all or nothing. I think the only negative I have was I was afraid how they were going to end things, because I thought maybe, okay, is this only going to be 2 seasons, season 1, season 2, and that's it? Because I really love this series. So I felt like it should keep going on, because the way they wrap things up is pretty nicely tight in a bow, especially Alucard's ending. Alucard's ending is so bittersweet. I don't want to say what it is specifically, but because I don't want to spoil too much, but it's bittersweet, and it's it kind of leaves you in the feels, man. You're like, oh, that's wow. So if they ended it right there, I think that would have been a nice touch. I think that would have been a nice end. So I liked how they thought of that. They're like, let's just wrap it up for now, but we'll leave the bow loose, so just in case we need to come back to it. So my rating for this season, for it being so good, I love this season so much. The end, it just wraps itself up nicely at the end, you know. And I love the pacing, fights, everything is top notch. I give this Castlevania Season 2 solid 4 out of 5 Skarsgårds. 4 out of 5, man. It was just one Skarsgård away, just one, from being perfect. And will we get a 5 out of 5 Skarsgårds in one of the next 2 seasons? Possibly. Maybe so. Who knows? Gotta stay tuned. Thank you so much for reaching to the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe if you want to help support. With that being said, what did you think of Castlevania so far? You know, Season 1, Season 2, or the whole series? Let me know down below. I hope you're all safe and well out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.